So I was searching around on YouTube there last night trying to find a video on this topic, and I can't believe nobody else has spoken about it.
Wicked, wicked, jungle is massive. Wicked, wicked, jungle is massive.
Okay, so we all know that story about a man from the West who comes to Thailand looking for love, fall in love with a Thai girl, and he gets his heart broken and he gets his bank account cleaned out. Oh, listen, it's everywhere, everywhere. Heard it too many times. People seem to love the story, you know what I mean? They can't get enough of it. But what about the other way around? Western women who come here and fall in love with Thai men. You don't really hear that often. Well, I tell you what, man, it happens. When I first came here, I couldn't get over it, man. The amount of women that them Thai men get. They clean up, they do. And you especially notice it when you get out of the the beer bar areas, like Pattaya and Bangkok and all the places where people go for go-go dancers and bar fine and all that. Mainly when you stay on the backpacker route, really, and you go to all these beach resorts, these lovely tropical beach resorts, and you get all these Thai dudes working there. They have bars, tattoo shops, fire jugglers, them guys. They sell stuff on the street. They make handcrafted, leathery bags and wallets and boots and stuff like that. These men, the Thai men, they're very free spirited. It's how would you put it? Thailand, it's a very formal country. Thai women, as you know, they care a lot about face. They want their children to grow up to have respectable jobs because it looks good in the community. And to get a good job, you have to be clean cut and very mannerly. Be very careful how you behave, and you just you have to be very, very respectable. And then you get these Thai men that work in the tourist areas. They're very hipster kind of dudes. You know what I mean? They all have long hair, beards. They wear funky clothes. They're mad into music. They're artistic. All that stuff. And the ones that I met, they actually told me that, and they don't like living in their village. They don't like the way the neighbours talk about them, and their parents don't like it either. It doesn't look good on the family, so they just up and leave and head off to Koh Phangan and Krabi and all these beach places and other places up in Chiang Mai and everything. And they've no interest in Thai women because they say that all Thai women are the same. All they want is the house and the car and the big wedding and the family and all that, and they don't want to provide that. You know what I mean? They just want to have a carefree, relaxing life. You know what I mean? They don't want to conform to that kind of society, and you get that everywhere. You know what I mean? It's all over the world. People do that in every country. They're not interested in the girls in their country because they just want to get married and settle down, whereas they want to have a good life for themselves. So these Thai men, they go down to the tourist areas and they set up their own little businesses, and I tell you, man, every day is like a Saturday for them. Every day is like a Saturday. There's always new women coming and going, and they clean up, man. I couldn't get over it, man, the amount of women these Thai fellas get. When I first really started noticing it, I was staying in Bangkok for a while, and one of my mates, he's a school teacher, and he had all these friends, all these girls that worked in the school with him, and they all used to go down to Koh Samet for the weekend, and they all had a fire juggler on the go. Fair enough, you know what I mean? They're over living abroad, having a laugh, you know what I mean? They've every right, you know what I mean, to try out the local cuisine. But that it's harmless, you know what I mean? They go down and have their little flings on the weekend, and they go back to their jobs, you know what I mean? If it doesn't work out, they still have their jobs. Good jobs as well, in Bangkok. But then you get these backpacker chicks, man. You know what I mean? Who try and hook up with a Thai man to stay in Thailand. And I'm telling you, man, that is the reason why they do it, man. And the Thai men, they play off it, man. You know what I mean? It's their A game, man. Using that little hook. I heard it with my own ears. Like, you know what I mean? I was in a bar down in Krabi, lovely beach resort. You know what I mean? It was real small, and I was at the bar waiting to get a drink, and this Thai man is like trying to chat up this German bird, and he was just saying to her, "So, you like it in this beach town here, yeah? This in Krabi?" And she's there saying, "Yeah, it's beautiful, it's lovely." She goes, "You know, you could live here forever if you want, but you're gonna have to hook up with a Thai man. Have you ever been with a Thai man before?" And I was like, "Oh, fucking hell, man." I thought you didn't get anywhere, man. She just legged it on him. And I'd, like, you know, meet all these girls and all, like, in the resorts I'd be staying in, and then we go out at night and we'd end up hanging out with these Thai dudes, and the amount of times I seen girls go off into the night with them, and like the next day and all, like, you know, I'd be chatting to them, and the girls like say, "Oh yeah, I was with your man and all, like, I really like him and all," and then the next night, you know, they'd go to meet him, and he'd be like chatting up like another bird, you know what I mean, giving the same routine he just did with her the night before, you know, like in that film Shirley Valentine, you know, the Lothario that lives in the holiday resort. Do you remember that film there? Where's me steak? But a couple of times now up in Chiang Mai, I met a couple of Thai dudes who had two. They were both English. The wives that they had, they were the only two that I saw that were like successful relationships. But the amount that I saw were just flings, and the girl falling for the guy. Oh man, it was crazy. You know what I mean? Like, you'd walk by a bar, you'd see the girl in there, like she'd be like hanging out with a guy and all, like, and then I just, like, you know, I put two and two together. I just give her a wave, you know, and then I'd see her like the next day. Says, "Yeah, are you going to see that guy again?" "Oh, I'm just back from his bar. He just totally ignored me." I said, listen, what can you do? You know what I mean? Like, at least he put you straight. You know what I mean? He didn't like string you along or anything like that. You know what I mean? The worst now story I heard now. I was in Koh Tao a few years ago, and I was staying in this little bungalow resort, and there was this girl staying in another bungalow next to me. She was from England, she was, and I got chatting away to her and all, and we were talking about travelling and all. She said she quit her job in England. She didn't like her job, so she always wanted to go travelling, and she decided to book a round the world trip. What she was going to do was first spend a month in India, which she had just done. She had spent a month in India, flew to Bangkok, and then came down to Koh Tao, and that's where she met me. And she was going to do, like, you know, the loop, all Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, and then she was going to go over to Australia and work in Australia for a year, and then save money there and do backpacking all around South America. And I was like, "Oh jeez, that's one hell of a trip. Fair play to you, honey, you know what I mean? You're going to have a blast. Good times are ahead." She was like, "Oh yeah, I'm having a great time so far. I really loved India and all, and I'm loving Thailand so far." So we ended up going out to a bar together, and a couple of others like that were staying in the resort as well. And there was these Thai dudes in the bar, and one of their mates comes along, real funky dude, you know, like a real pointy goatee, had these like circular glasses and long ponytail down his head, going down his back, and you know, he's wearing all these colourful kind of like checkered Thai trousers and all, like had a walk on him and all, like he was doing all these cool handshakes with his mates and all, like he spoke really good English, perfect English. He was a cool geezer, you know what I mean? He loved hanging out and all, like, you know, with everyone, and, you know, getting in on the gags, and, you know, he could kick it. But yeah, this English one that I met in the bungalow resort, she couldn't take her eyes off him. Oh, she was like that all night, and I was there thinking, he's gonna get it tonight, man, defo, no doubt about it. So they ended up going off into the night, and I woke up the next morning, and I was walking by our bungalow, and I heard the the whisperings of sweet nothings going on, you know, pillow talk and all that. I says, oh, that's your man in there. So we went to the same bar the next night, and she was with him again, and started getting very serious. He was a street seller, you know. He did paintings, you know. He was able to do portraits, and he used to like sell them on like a little, like a little wicker mat. He laid them all out on the street on a promenade, and he'd sell them. And then when he'd be finished working, he'd go to his mate's bar. That's where we met him. And I ended up staying there for about 10 days. She was there the whole time. I packed my bags, and I decided, you know, it was time to move on. I was going to head down further south to meet some other friends, like, you know what I mean? But she said she was hanging on, you know? She says, oh, no, I'm going to stay here. I really like it here, you know? So I was like, yeah, okay, yeah. So that we were like friends on Facebook, you know? So when I was doing my travelling, you know, she'd come up on my newsfeed and all, and I'd see her like posting stuff still in Coatel and all that, like, you know what I mean? And then while I was off travelling, she posted up on Facebook, you know, a couple of weeks later, that she was opening a bar in Coatel. You know, she decided to open a bar, and apparently, you know, she just put all her other travel plans out the window and decided to stay there. She'd fallen in love with Thailand, and fallen in love with a Thai man to go with it as well. You know what I mean? She didn't need Vietnam. She didn't need Cambodia. The hell with Australia, South America. She lives in Coatel now. She owns a bar. She's never going back to the UK. So I like just sent her a message saying, oh, fair play to you. Looks like you're going to have a great time and all, like, you know. Best of luck with that. And she'd be like posting videos and stuff like that, and it looked like a great bar, like, you know what I mean? It looked like a type of place I wouldn't mind hanging out, play great music and all, like, you know. And apparently, you know, the guy had like informed her about this whole idea. It was his plan to like open a bar. You know, he wasn't going to buy the business. He was just going to rent the business, and he'd use it as a base where he'd do his paintings during the day, and then like he'd have friends who would sell his stuff on their stall, and he'd take care of the bar. You know, so it was like a base that was also a cash cow, like, you know what I mean? And he just needed the money to fund this operation, and he hadn't got it, like. But she thought it would be a great idea to set up shop in Coatel and, you know, start up a bar in Thailand with her new Thai boyfriend. So whatever happened, you know, I was on my travels, and then I ended up back in Coatel, and I went and met up with them, and I hung out at that bar, and it was a cool place. I used to love going drinking there. I always get these characters coming in, like, you know what I mean, and it's always fun to be had, good music and all, like, and I was there a few days and I had a great time. I says, right, so best looks like you're well set up here. Like, you know what I mean? You've got a nice life, you know what I mean? Fair play to you. She was like, oh yeah, I'm very happy, you know, like. So I went off travelling again. I went over to Cambodia this time and met up with some friends, and then like a few weeks later I ended up going back to Coatel again. It was just, I don't know, whatever way I was doing my loop, you know, I was always meeting people there. It was a place to go meet up, like, and it was a good place to party. It's a nice island, like, you know what I mean? I went into the same bungalow where I met this girl, and I could hear her voice. And they're going, that's odd. Why is she still staying here? Like, you know what I mean? I thought she was living in the bar. That's where she was last time I came here. And I looked in and I says, what's the story? And she's like, oh, Paul, you came back and all. Oh, Paul, oh, I'm so sad. I says, what's wrong with you? Oh, him, guy, I caught him cheating on me. I was like, no way. A Thai man cheating on his girlfriend. Who would have thought? So, what happened was, apparently, she came home. She went out after the bar closed up. She went out. She went partying. This like little secret area in the beach. It was a big all-nighter, and her Thai boyfriend, like, he disappeared in the night. She went looking for him, And when she eventually found him, he was like having sex on the beach with like some American chick, like, you know what I mean, and like it really, pissed her off. She ran back to the bar and she fucking trashed the place and all. Like, she just went hysterical because she'd been drinking as well. Like, not only that, like, working in the bar, she'd like got into a rut where she was drinking every night of the week, you know. And so, like, when you're drinking every night in the week, living in a place like that, like, you're out of touch of reality altogether. Like, you know what I mean? You're a completely different person than when you left the UK or wherever you're from. You know what I mean? You start talking differently. Your mind just, you're not in it. You're out of it. Like, you know what I mean? And like working in a bar in Thailand, it's not really work. You know what I mean? It's just sitting around chatting to people, drinking. You know what I mean? So she finished with him. She couldn't take it. She was heartbroken, and she had a feeling. You know what I mean? It was only like a couple of months, and he'd already cheated on her. You know what I mean? What was it going to be like a year down the line? You know what I mean? And you know what I mean? She made a scene out of it. You know, everyone knew about it. You know, from her trashing the place and all. Like, it was a big drama. She was like the talk of the town. You know, and she decided, you know, that's it. What else is there to do? Like, you know what I mean? She'd no money. She funded all this money into doing up the bar and all, like, and you know what I mean? She was cleaned out, she was. You know what I mean? That money was supposed to do her till she got to Australia, set her up in Australia, and then she'd like save up in Australia to do more travelling. But she couldn't get to Australia now. She put all this money into this idea to own the bar, and she was stuck in this bungalow with no money, you know what I mean? Eating like one pad thai a day or something like that, and she was just in a bad way, like, you know what I mean? She was just stuck in that bungalow all day. And I think like she'd go to that bar at night and she'd still get free drink off your man, but she was trying to organise a flight home. She had to call her parents. Her parents had to organise a flight, pay for it for her to bring her home. That's what she had to do. So she went home, and your man, her ex-boyfriend, stayed in his bar, working it, like, you know what I mean? So that's the end of that chapter anyway. So a few years later, I'd left Thailand. I hadn't gone back to Thailand for a few years. I went and did some travelling in South America and Central America. And then about 3 years later, I came back to Thailand and I found myself in Koh Tao. And I wasn't on Facebook. I gave up Facebook, you know, I deleted it. So I guessed maybe, you know, that bar is still there. And I decided to go rambling down to the little beach area where it was. And when I went down there, it was like a little, like a French restaurant cafe, just on the beach underneath a little tree. And the bar was gone, and I was thinking, oh well, another one bites the dust. So I just walked off, went up towards the main road, and I'm walking along. And next of all, I heard a voice going, "Hello, my friend." I said, they're looking around, are they talking to me? And I looked over and there's somebody waving at me. I was like, no way, if it isn't himself, the Thai Lothario, Casanova. So I went over to him and he's like giving me like the hugs and the handshakes. My friend, how are you? You want some drink? And I goes, you working here now? Oh no, this is my new bar. I move bar. I goes, yeah, I went looking for you in the last place. I couldn't find you. Oh no, I changed location and all. You're saying this bigger place and on the main road, more business. I was like, oh, all right, very good. Still the same kind of team, the same kind of music and all, like, you know. So I stayed there and I had a couple of drinks with him, chatting away, catching up and all, like. And he was telling me that he had just come back from a bit of travelling around Europe. It was his lifelong dream to go to Europe and go to some music festivals around Germany and Holland. And he just done it, and then he came back and got the new premises. And what he was hoping for next was to save up enough money to actually buy the business, so that like he'd own his own business on the island. I was like, fair play to you, man. Jeez, you're doing alright, aren't you? And I was asking him, have you got a girlfriend, a new bird? And he goes, oh, I have new girlfriend every night. I was like, oh, fair balls to you, man. I'm happy for you, like, you know what I mean? But you think of it, like, you know what I mean? It wasn't nice the way, like, you know, he cheated on your one, but if you look at it from his perspective, like, you know what I mean? He was like doing that smaller bar, the business with her, she was just like sitting around getting drunk, you know what I mean? Drinking alcohol that could be sold, you know what I mean? And sometimes she'd be going behind the bar, you know, serving customers, and she's not supposed to, you know what I mean? She'd no work permit. And he just felt like she was, you know what I mean? Well, from where I'm looking, I'm guessing he probably thought she was a liability. That's the way I'd look at it from his perspective. And anyway, like, you know what I mean? And you know what I mean? Like, the honeymoon period fizzled out, you know what I mean? He could have a new girl every night, you know what I mean? So long. But you know what? That's the thing with a lot of Westerners, you know what I mean, that come here. They think they can just pay once and that's it, they're on the pig's back. It doesn't work that way at all. I tell you, one thing Thai people can spot is laziness, man, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter how much money like you come and put in, like, you have to show your worth, you know what I mean? You have to show that like you can do something, you know what I mean? You don't want to be just sitting around getting drunk in a hammock playing on your phone all the time. You gotta try mingle, communicate, get involved with everything, like, you know what I mean? And, you know, be careful with how you spend your money, because Thailand, you know what I mean, like, it's you on your own, you know what I mean, and you're with a partner, it's you two together, you're on your own, it's up to yous to like make money, no one's gonna help you. Yeah, that was the end of her. He said, I asked him did he ever hear from her again, and he said no, yes, the odd time she sends him a message on Facebook, but apparently, you know, she went home, she had to get a job, took her a while to get a job in the UK, then she had to pay back her parents for the money that they, you know, spent on her flight home, and then she fell into the rut of like just spending her wages every week, you know, she got them, and she wasn't doing any more travelling. That was the end of that chapter for her, but he was certainly doing well for himself. I tell you, man, you go out to Chewang, man, and you see all these lads that have bars, guaranteed to be a couple of little groupies from somewhere like USA, Sweden, England, anywhere in the West, hanging around, getting free drinks, and the guys that are giving them the free drinks because they know they want to get their leg over them later on in the night, you know what I mean? Oh man. And you know what as well, Jenny told me a story that one time she was out in Chewing drinking on a night out, and she was in a little bar that was run by a Thai guy, and there was this bird sitting at the bar, couldn't take her eyes off the Thai man that worked there. He was only a young fella, about 25 or something. She's like that, looking at him all night, hanging out of him. And you know what she done? She paid his bar fine. She couldn't wait for the bar to close and he had to stay more. She paid his bar fine to go off with him. So, some of yous out there that to be like giving out to us lads saying, oh, we know why yous go to Thailand, what yous be after. Have a look at some of your sisters, alright? they're just as bad. That right, Lemo? Alright folks, once again, nice having the chats. Have a good one. Talk to you later, alright? Keep her lit.